If we escape out of there, then we go into our fine tuning menu. The fine tuning menu is exactly what it says. It's how you fine tune your model. So it gives you flight modes, digital trims. So we're going to look at the digital trims. So the digital trims can be assigned at the moment. We have them assigned on aileron, throttle, rudder and elevator as you normally would. Recently we had a situation where a chap was setting up a helicopter, and when it assigned the channels, and we go back into our model menu for a second and we look at our function assignment, it had the pitch control and the throttle control on the same joystick, which it's supposed to be, but it actually had the digital trims assigned to the pitch control. So all we did was we went into this area here, so we'll just pretend now that throttle or rudder was our pitch. We went into there on the functions. Okay, that's got some things assigned to it, but we want to actually assign a digital trim to it. So we escape out of there, we go up to our fine tuning, go to our digital trim, and we went and found that rudder, for instance, which was originally what we're talking about with helicopter, was a pitch, and we entered into that. And then what we did is we brought another menu up by selecting it, and we said we want to make that throttle. So we made that throttle by pressing the button. So now we had throttle, and it was assigned to the digital trims. Then if you move across, you can go to the value of that trim. So highlight that, whether you want global or separate. So you want a global, or you can have separate controls for each flight mode you want. And then you have a value which you can change here. So if you look at the arrow here, if you press this arrow, what it's doing now is it's bringing up the digital trim steps. So if we go into that by pressing the rotary knob again, highlighting that, we can change the trim steps, and they can go really fast and really slow. If you're running a turbine, you may want it to go really fast because the way they set the turbines up, top trim is running and bottom trim is cut off. So you go beep, 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 and it's done. So let's just escape out of there. So that's the basics of your fine tuning menu. Then we go to your dual rate and exponential. Now your dual rate and exponential is very easy to set up. If we look at our ailerons, we'll click on the ailerons, and what we need to do is to assign a switch to it. So we come down to switch, highlight the button, and it just tells you, as you can see on the screen there, move a switch. Well, let's just move switch SG. We'll move that, or SF, sorry. So now it's you can see we're turning it on and off. If we want to reverse the direction of that switch, we just press reverse and it works the other way. If you want to not use that switch, you've made a mistake, press the clear button and it comes up and tells you to move another switch. Okay, we'll move this switch. And now it's on SC. Or hey, hang on, no, I want to clear that out, I want to get back on this switch. It's as easy as that. So we'll just escape out of there, apply the changes, yes. So now we've got a switch assigned to it, and you see it's got the SF and it's got the tick on it when I flick it off. And you'll see we've now got position 1 and position 2. So let's just leave position 1 in 100% mode on our dual rate, and in position 2, by flicking the switch, we highlight it by pressing the rotary control knob. Now at the moment it's set in symmetrical, so it's going to do both sides at once. So basically you can see that now we're just bringing it down to, say 50%. So now by flicking the switch you can see that we're changing between 50% and 100% on our rate. So that's how easy it is. Press the rotary controller, bring the highlight down if you want some exponential in there. Okay, we'll look at that again. It's on symmetrical, it's highlighted there, so we'll bring in some exponential, and you can see how it's going to make it a lot softer through the centre by moving the stick. Right? That's on position 1, so let's give it series here, or maybe run 30% exponential. Press the rotary control knob. Then we go on to position 2, and once again press the rotary control knob. It's still on symmetrical. We can change that by making that not symmetrical, but we want it symmetrical. So it's highlighted, so now we just go change that, and we're on a much lower rate, so we'll just run, say, 20%. And you can see the effect that will have by highlighting your servo with the little I button. So you press that button there, and now we're on our ailerons, and we can see how effective the stick's going to be in that position. Flick the switch, there's our bigger position. We can then go on to look at our percentages of throw. So there's our ailerons at 0%, so on and so forth, and you can see them all moving, and because I've got the throttle down there, you can see there, but it's you can see the ailerons, it's giving me the throttle movement, so I bring the throttle down, and it's giving us our aileron 1 and 2. There, if I hit the switch, it comes straight down, and you can also go back and you see the receiver output, you see the millipulses on there. So I'll OK all that, and so that's how easy it is to set up a dual rate. If you run a 3-position switch, you can set up 3 rates. You have rate 1, 2 and 3. So I'll escape out of there, do the rest of it for the elevators and whatever. Your function curves, aileron differential. So look at your function curves at the moment. So we've got throttle, for instance. So if we bring it down to throttle and we highlight that and we highlight the curve, you can see we've got an information box graphic coming up there. That's our standard curve, and you see the throttle just moving up and down, the little target moving up and down there. We're on here, so if we press our rotary control knob, we go to standard, constant, which you don't want, that's just a flat line, 3 points, 5 points. So they're 7 points, 9 points, and then you can have all sorts of weird and wonderful things set up. But let's just go back to say a 5-point curve. So we'll see our throttle coming up. So come out of there, go across with your rotary knob, and you'll see it's now highlighting this box. So, and you'll see we're on down the bottom of the point. So if I press the rotary control knob now, it's highlighted the bottom point. So what I want to do is give that a value. So I'm going to just bring that up a little bit so we can see it's moving it. We want to flatten this curve out a bit. So I've got 10% in there, so I'll press the rotary control knob button again, and it brings it up to the next point. So I want to bring that down, so we're going to put a low curve in. Press it again, it's on the middle point. I want to bring this curve down. Press it again, it moves the point further down. So now we've got this this nice looking throttle curve going through, and this is basically for a lot of guys that are running petrol engines. It's very handy because they get very active the first part of the movement. Then from 3/4 throttle to full throttle there's not much happening. So you want it all down the bottom end, so you get a nice feel for coming in the land and everything. So you just sort of set that up. And you can then move the offsets up. You've got arrows going here and there and up and down. So if we press, say, the up arrow, for instance, it's moving that point up, and it's moving that point down, the same as we do with the rotary control knob. Right? If we press the side arrows, it's stretching that curve out for us, so we can change the shape of it or bringing it back in for us. So it's like a smoothing effect you can have on your curve. So very handy, really good thing to look at. We have a look at our servo, and now we can see our throttle with a curve on it. As I raise the bottom point up, so now we're only at 79%. I'll move the stick in a consistent motion so you can see the highlight bar moving. So I'll move in a consistent motion, and then you'll see it get quicker as it goes up. So moving in a consistent motion, it gets a lot slower because we've got the curve in there. So we'll just OK that. Escape out of there and escape out of there. Aileron differential, pretty self-explanatory. It's coming up and asking you for differential on your aileron. You can have a control put in there, so you only want the differential at certain times. So you may want it on the differential coming in on a position on your throttle stick. So you would do that. The butterfly arrangement for your control, what we call crow braking. Aileron, elevator flaps, very easy to set up. You go to your ailerons, put the amount of, excuse me, the amount you want in there, highlight that, it's on symmetrical, you might see over here, it's in symmetrical. Bring that down, so we're happy with the amount of aileron going up, and you can do each one individually if you want to. Then we want to look at our elevator adjustments. So we want an offset on elevator, so there's our elevator movement, you can see it moving. So we'll put a value in it in here. So now when we bring our crow braking in, yeah, we can settle this up. The curve is standard, so we go back. So we need to have a control in there, because we need to tell it it's got to work. So you may want, I normally use a slider on the side of the set. So what we'll do is we'll highlight that, highlight the control. It asks me to move the control. I've moved it. Now it's telling me the P5, which is my slider on the side, is now going to activate the control. So I just apply the changes. So now, if we actually have a look at our servo arrangement, you can see our ailerons there will go to position. So there's our full position, 99% each way. You can see the two ailerons moving. No elevator movement at all. There's our elevator moving, there are two elevators. So now I'll throw the crow braking in, and all of a sudden you can see we've got 28% movement on our ailerons, and the same amount of movement on our elevators, and you just fine tune that. So basically, if we go back out of there, we can go into this scope out there, go into our tuning, right? And this allows us to fine tune the amount that you want to use. And if you look at the control, so we can look at the control, and then it wants us to move the control. So we want to fine tune it, and we might want to use one of the knobs on the set. So what we'll do is we'll turn the knob. So our fine tuning is on P7. So we'll escape out of there, apply the changes, and now we want to look at how much we want to fine tune and what channels we want to fine tune. So in this case, you'd be only wanting to fine tune the elevator. So you'd highlight the elevator there, click on that, bring a percentage up, and we'll put a big percentage in so you can see it on the screen. So this is giving us 50% of the travel that we've set for the elevator in the mix. We'll go into our crow braking. We'll put our crow braking on. So as you can see there, you can see our two elevator channels, which is channel 4 and channel 7. Now if I actually move this knob, you can see them both changing. So I'm actually fine tuning those in the mix, so you can set the whole thing up as you're flying. Once I cancel that fine tuning knob is doing nothing. So when you finish your flight, you come into land, all you do is you go, okay, I'm happy with the amount, I'm happy with say whatever you've set there by adjusting the fine tuning. All you do then is apply that figure, and now that knob that you set is now nulled and goes back to 0. So you haven't got to worry about someone turning the knob or having it at the wrong spot. It is now all set, and if you want to go through the process and add some more, you have to go back in and tell the elevator you want to give it some more. So it's a very good feature with the Jeti, very easy to set up. Snap rolls, once again, it gives you all your elevators, rudders and switches, what switches you want to use, how much elevator control, how much aileron, how much rudder, so on and so forth. Free mixes, mixing channels together, very simple. Add a mix, press the add button from, and you need to click on that, select something. We want to mix, I don't know, ailerons, 2, click on that. Rudder, for instance, a lot of people mix ailerons and rudder. So we'll then go on the master value. We want it mixed in 100%. Of that. So aileron to rudder, value is 100%. So it's going to give it 100% of the mix. So you can OK that, and then if we escape out of there, have a look at our servo. So if we move our ailerons now, our rudder's moving as well. Pretty simple. We'll escape out of there. Go back into that free mix area again. and look at that mix and go, okay, well I want to do something different with that. So we go back to the rudder value and you go, well, you know, I only want the rudder working at 10%. So there we go, we'll just put it down to 10%, and yeah, it's all working very nicely, you know. Okay, that. So you can see mixing is very simple, and then you're back to your flight modes again. So mixing 2 channels together is easy. If you want to add and edit this particular mix, right? What you do then is press the edit button, and you'll see all of a sudden you've got the master value there. You can put a switch on it to activate the mix by a switch, or you go across and you can go and look at your curve. So now you can put a curve mix in, right? So we highlight standard, press the rotary control button, and we'll go for a 9-point curve on the mix, right? So there's our ailerons moving backwards and forwards. There's our rudder moving backwards and forwards. So now we've got to set just exactly what we want to happen either side of that mix. So once again, you would once you've got that, press your rotary control button again. Make sure you're happy with it. Move the rotary control button clockwise. That highlights it. Then press the button, and that gives you your bottom keys, your little circle there. So we can change that, or you can use the up and down arrows to change the value. You know, have some weird looking mixes if you want to. Press the button again, brings the next point up. We can take that one up as well. Press the button again to go along, and we can make it look really weird. So you see, you can really do anything you like with it. So so I hope this has been helpful, and if there's anything that questions you've got, if you get hold of Andy at Demon RC in Australia, he can put you on to me, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions on the Jeti radio. But this is a really great piece of kit. The telemetry is exceptional because you can use the telemetry to control channels. And in my case, I have the telemetry. I have a GPS unit in one of my models, and I'm using the output of the GPS unit to actually control the gain channel on the Cortex. On my jets, I use the inclinometer in here to put my brakes on. So basically, I'm just I'm flying along. I have a null point on the radio, and so I'm allowing myself about 30 or 40 degrees movement around. And then when I come into land, I want to put the brakes on. All I do is I go past that 30%, and proportionally, it's putting the brakes on for me. So they've some really great features. But in the next video, I'm going to go through a lot of those things. So I hope this has been helpful for you, and wish you all the best with your flying. And let me know if there's any issues I can help you with through Andy at Demon RC. Thank you.